Hello and welcome to Live Coding Happy Hour. This is the show that you get to watch us try and figure stuff out as we figure it out. It's a great time, really honest. It sounds like a train wreck in slow motion, but it's not, because you get the insight of the discussion, the learning, the discovery, all kinds of things. Let's go around and do some intros. First, this young lady over here.
Hey everybody, my name is Lauren McManaman. I am the newest member of the developer advocacy team, and I am here to show you Doc and Tell today. So I'll be I think it's my second attempt at running the show, so wish me luck, and I will toss things down below.
Hi everyone, I am Earl Duque. I am a developer advocate here at ServiceNow. I've been with the team for about a year now, which makes me the second oldest present developer advocate on the team. It's just three of us right now. But before that, I was with Higher Ed with a bunch of customers doing development. And bring it back over to Chuck.
My name is Chuck Tomasi, Senior Developer Advocate. I got more time than both of these put together. So I've been with ServiceNow since mid-2010, was a customer for a couple of years before that, and have development history going back about 40 years. So yeah, I'm the old man of the crowd. So get off my internet, you kids.
I'll get off your internet lawn.
Let's go this way to describe what's happening with the beverages today.
I'm being boring. So last time I said I was doing Sober October. This time I'm also doing Sober October. So I'm just doing a ginger ale today. What about you, Earl?
Got that. Darn it. Sounds really good.
I had a long week, so I'm drinking. Yep. I have a Golden State cider. I drank this about a month ago on air.
I think so,
but,
yep.
I need to get rid of some of my cans, so I'm drinking this cider again from Sonoma County, California, where I live, and it's a Jamaica flavor.
Ooh.
Flowery, sweet.
Jamaica? Is that Jamaica in Spanish?
I mean, Jamaica the flower in yeah.
And I am having high quality H2O from my Developer MVP 2021 canteen. So that's about my fourth or fifth one of the day.
Very nice.
With the beverages and introductions out of the way, what do you say we talk about what we came here to talk about? So, Lauren, you are in charge today.
I am. So obviously, as part of the whole Tokyo program, we're wanting to highlight a lot of the newest and most interesting features that have come out with Tokyo. And one of the things that was definitely on a lot of people's lists is the concept of document intelligence. So document intelligence is part of, I don't know what branch it's technically under, but essentially it's giving ServiceNow the ability to read on our behalf. So
it's part of Automation Engine.
Automation Engine. Thank you. So under the branch of Automation Engine, we have Doc and Tell. So basically, we're giving ServiceNow the ability to read in PDFs, and basically we are going to train them to either put those things directly into some sort of table or transform that data before we dump it, maybe using something like Flow Designer. So essentially, that's what we're focusing on here today. Use case wise, selfishly, I am going off of a use case I am kind of tinkering with myself. And so I figured that now the world is opening up. There's a lot more travel happening. I'm having to travel a little bit for work upcoming. We're doing like a little bit of a meetup tour. And so I thought maybe creating a travel app would be kind of fun. With a lot of these OCR solutions, like I think it's interesting to utilize documents that don't always look identical as well. Obviously we could do this with just like a standard PDF that always looks the same. However, that's not really the most relevant thing with businesses. Oftentimes people will scan stuff and it'll look funky. It'll be a little bit maybe out of line. People might type things up in their own font. And so instead of doing what I initially intended, with it being just like a flight itinerary, I thought it'd be kind of fun to do passports. Passports are something that's commonly scanned in if you're managing them. So they can have a high variability of looking different while still relying on a similar format. We're only doing American passports, but that's what we're going to be focusing on here today. So I'm actually going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to be using my secondary monitor as long as it has been performing a little aberrantly recently. So if I have to switch things around in the middle of the show, I apologize. But for now, it seems to be holding steady. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen number 2. Fantastic. Okay. So document intelligence. This is, if you are wondering where this exists on your platform, and if you're not seeing it, that is because it is a plugin that needs to be turned on. So if you have access to this based off of your, like obviously based off of what you've purchased on the platform, I'll always add that asterisk. This is a plugin that has to be kicked off from your plugin manager first. But once you do that,
is it plugin or is it it's the store, I believe.
I turned it on via a plugin. There might be multiple
okay.
ways to do it, but I did it through a plugin a couple of days ago.
Yeah, I believe it's a licensed product as well.
Cool.
So you mentioned U.S. passports only, and I love this use case because, it is one of a kind of document that can come in a number of formats. From a business perspective, you might think of getting invoices from one customer has a certain format, getting invoices from another customer has a different format. So yeah, you could take this, what Lauren's doing here today, and adapt it quite easily to European passport or Australian passport or Japanese passport, because they're going to have different similar things in different places.
Absolutely. So that's kind of what we're going to be playing around a little bit with today. We can always try using a different passport. I only downloaded a bunch of fake US passports. Well, actually, the ironic thing is I don't know how fake some of them are. Obviously, finding demo data for passports is a little goofy. Some of them obviously look like rather fake. However, some of the ones I found seem to be like examples of people that got scammed from like romance scams, which is a little goofy. I did get a Canadian passport to test out, like a fake, Michelle Obama, Frank Moss, whoever that is. So we've got some demo data to work off of today.
We salute you, Frank Mott.
Yes, we appreciate you and your gullibleness with romance scams. For that, we have examples today to use.
I want to start a thread in the Slack channel to find out where people get their demo data, because that one just intrigues me. Usually I go to like mockaroo.com to get a JSON object, but no, Lauren goes to fake romance scam sites to pick up passports.
Well, technically I went to Google Images and they were there from Google Images and Pinterest. Some people were just putting their passport on Pinterest, which God knows is probably not the...
That I sure hope they're fake, because that is not a good observation of PII.
Yeah, I got no way of proving if they're fake or not, so fingers crossed. So this is the dashboard. So obviously with all of our products, we try to give reportability on how they're working. And these kind of give a hint of what makes up doc intelligence. So you'll see things like transactions and tasks and task definitions, which represent kind of the main artifacts that represent doc intel. So the first thing, before we create anything, is we have to create a task definition. A task definition on doc intel essentially represents the use case in which we are trying to emulate. So you can see here, I was tinkering around with creating one for American Airlines flight confirmations, but we are going to go ahead and create a new one, and we're going to call this passport.
Bigger font. Take a drink. Whoa. Okay.
There you go.
The guy in the back of the bus can see that on my mobile phone now.
I mean, if you're gonna harass for bigger font, I can always give bigger font. There we go. So once we have created our task definition, we will go ahead and click into this. If it'll load for me today. Come on.
Click.
Let's hear what
oh, that's never a good sign when you get that banner.
No, it's not. Go back.
Oh, there's an old UI 11-ish screen with the green back arrow.
Well, does it want to load? Okay. Thank you. So this is what a task definition looks like. Essentially, it represents how you will be processing all of your documents, and documents come in the form of tasks. So the task definition provides the framework in which all of your tasks will be processed, essentially setting up like the source table that it might be linked to, the target of where it is going, as well as the keys. The keys are probably the most important piece of this because they are the fields that we are looking for. So if we bring up let's pull up Michelle. I think that was the clearest looking one. Hopefully this is not the real Michelle's passport, but we got no way of proving if it is or isn't. To use as the example for creating our keys. So if we were reading this optimally, like what would we essentially want to gain from this passport? So to create a new key, you're going to go ahead and click new in this upper right-hand corner. We're going to give it a display name and then a name itself. I will say that the only two types of data that can be read by DocIntel currently are just text, or I don't know why it doesn't say string like everything else, but it says text, and true or false. So a Boolean.
Okay, so no numbers or images or anything at this point.
No, but that is where the flows can come in handy. So they can take in strings and put them in formats that are more appropriate.
Date. Yeah.
Yes, dates, which are like the bane of my existence on ServiceNow.
Everybody, time zones.
So hopefully, obviously, these are a part of date. The passwords are great because they got strings, they got numbers, but they also have the God forbid dates. So we're gonna go ahead and just create. Let's just do one for passport number. So we'll call this passport number. Go ahead and click submit. And we're not going to create all of them. I'll just create a few. So while this chugs along at a very, very leisurely pace, Chuck and Earl, are there any use cases that have been brought up to you from customers or from people that are interested regarding how they are expecting to use something like DocIntel?
Not for me yet.
I have received a direct message saying that we should use DocIntel to read beer labels while we do live coding happy hour.
Pretty cute.
That would be more of a QR code scanning thing.
All right, I'll just do date of birth and nationality. That's all I'll do after this.
You can get the passport number from two places. One is in that upper right of the bottom page, the 910239, blah, blah, blah. And it's also on the bottom. And that's typically what machines read is the bottom stuff.
Correct. And you will see
you want to parse that out.
We've got options, which is kind of cool. So I'll just do nationality and I'll do one more. I'll do a date. I'll do the expiration date because that's probably the most important date on the whole thing.
I noticed when you go to customs or something, they just take that page and scan it to almost like a barcode scanner or a magnetic stripe reader, which I found out my latest passport, which is all of about 1.5 years old, has an RFID in it. So they don't even need to scan that anymore.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, that's cool.
Yes.
On global entry, it makes it much easier too, because all of the machines are RFID now.
Yeah. I don't even need to carry my global entry card anymore. It's like, I'm so disappointed.
You're so disappointed. So now, hang on, let me rearrange my window. Whoopsies. There we go. So now that we've created at least enough keys to get the ball rolling, let's go ahead and just put in one of our documents and see how this goes. So essentially, before you can create anything, these are the first two steps that are mandatory. Obviously, you can create flows to kind of massage the data, very similar to transformation maps. However, these are the first two mandatory steps. Create the task definition and the keys that you're wishing to look for.
Do you have any info about like the stuff on top, warning threshold and version?
To be honest, I do not. I do not remember off the top of my head the threshold.
Just enough prep to get us by for now.
Just enough to have fun with this. I apologize.
Yeah, we never advertised this as like the expert show. We're dangerous.
This is to play around and see if we can get it working right. Or at least that's what I thought it was. So
you're right on track.
Cool. So we're just going to call this Michelle Obama. And we're going to go ahead and attach our document. So the neat thing about attachments is that you can do it in a couple of formats. I'm going to do this one as well. Should we do Frank? Let's do Michelle and see if this one works. Because I did JPEGs before. I have not done PNGs. I know PDFs work, and I know JPEGs work, but I've not tried PNG. So let's go ahead and try that and click Process Task. Now, the second that you click Process Task, a couple things are going to happen. Essentially, this not only is the attachment going to be downloaded onto the, I believe, server side of ServiceNow, but it's also going to use AI to basically scan through the document for potential data that can be stored utilizing DocIntel. So if you look down at the task itself, it'll say that the is processed is false. We can't really do much until is processed is true. It's pretty quick. It usually takes about a minute or so. But you can also get good reporting data as far as also like on the processing as well.
So some of our MVPs inside the audience are actually pointing out some of the
fields,
some of the things that we're seeing on our screen. So warning threshold is talking about these confidence scores. If you didn't know about this, the document intelligence uses a machine learning platform called Nagini that runs in the background and sends it off to a data center to process. And so this is why this feature isn't on-prem yet. It's all, you have to have an online server, but that's what is happening in the background. It's getting those confidence scores from an algorithm that is hosted by this Nagini engine.
As in Voldemort's snake?
Yeah, that's all I can think of.
I'm
thinking. Speaking of which, the actor who played Hagrid passed away today. So, I'm wondering if our developers did diligence, and if you hover over the field labels, did they leave a hint for us of what they might be?
For the back on the task definition, let's see.
Any of them. Just hover over the label, see what happens.
It's loading.
Robbie Coltrane. Thank you, Phil.
So if we hover over warning threshold.
Fail.
Autofill threshold.
Fail.
And for enable straight through processing, I believe that is if you check that, then it'll start processing the doc intelligence part without having to press a button. So if a user puts the image onto an attachment record, it'll start processing it immediately. If it already has the training done beforehand.
Yeah, if you do the target table, that basically allows you to align keys directly. So if you've gotten this to a point where it's predicting things really, really well, and it doesn't need a lot of data massaging, you could have it just auto dump directly into a specific table. We don't necessarily want to do that, but you can set that up and then just align key to field within ServiceNow, which is kind of
that kind of feels like the difference of doing a direct table API rather than going through the import set API.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Which I don't recommend.
No, not necessarily. But if it was just a one-to-one for, you could. So we see now that the is processed is true. So if we open up our task, so remember, this is processing a singular document for our use case of passports in general. We can see a couple of things. We can see every one of the keys that we define. So this is why it's important to define the keys ahead of time. We can see whether or not it's actually found anything, and it all appears to be empty. So what's the point of having AI if it can't identify anything? Well, point is that it has to be trained. So this is the first document for a brand new task definition. So obviously it's going to be pretty 0% accurate, but we can help it along its way. So, excuse me, if we go ahead and open up DocIntel's little window here, we can coach the algorithm on what data we are actually looking for. So we have a nice window where you can zoom in, you can kind of navigate to exactly what we're looking for here, just so that everyone can see it well. And on the right-hand side, you will see all the keys that we defined. So for example, if I wanted to show the passport number, currently it doesn't have anything as a result. But if I, as a human being, can see that the passport number is 910239, and we see that we have something returning as a result. If I hover over this, it'll show in that blue box where it is reading that data. And on the right-hand side, it shows 0%. The percent score that it is showing is the prediction score. So if this was a much more accurately trained definition, it would show that as a higher degree of competency. But again, first time. But it does actually showcase that information that we are looking for. So we're going to go ahead.
I thought you would have had to draw those rectangles. You just type that in and it goes, I saw one.
Correct. which is pretty damn cool for the first time, especially. That's really cool to see. So similarly, as we walk down, we can see there's a little blue check mark, and we can see that it shows one is completed. So it's the overall status completion of this. So first name, we're going to type in Michelle. And again, it's accurately finding all
Case
the
insensitive too.
Yeah. The interesting thing to me is that it's not for somehow reading the ones on the bottom. I
Right.
do not know why. It's fine, but that is kind of wackadoo that it's for some reason only seeing, because when I was looking at, what was it, flight information, my like confirmation was referenced multiple times in that document, and it found all of them. So maybe it's the discrepancy of font, maybe it's that wavy pattern that is indicative of the passport. I'm not quite sure, but at least it did find at least one of them, which is
Witchcraft, I tell you.
yeah. So the next one, well, actually, that's kind of curious. How detailed can we get as far as like with how blurry the stuff is? So if I type in like
the
endorsements,
Spanish words in there?
it's not, and well, it gets part of it. Like it sees that whole thing as one whole chunk. If I try to type in endorsements.
Of course, some Nels. What? it's not quite making out the letters.
It's getting the Latin though, or
That's hilarious.
Is that English?
It's the Constitution. Yeah.
It's pretty great. So we want the last name though, which is not endorsement. It is Obama.
See page 51.
Cool. And then nationality. So we're going to type in the United States. Okay, this is a good example of how it can show multiple, because obviously United States is written multiple times on this passport. It's a U.S. passport. So we don't want that one. We don't want this one. We want the one that is right underneath.
You're cursoring over those. Gotcha.
Well, does it not see the one that we need though?
Type out of America. It should, by process of elimination, it should get that.
No. Interesting. Oh, wait.
It's grabbing that whole block.
Oh, that's not, well, So this might be an opportunity to showcase a little ellipses on here. So if you have an issue, you can flag this field so you can kind of come back to it later. It'll prevent you from submitting the whole thing. Let's just go ahead and do that for now. And then we'll finish with the expiration date. So the expiration
This is where you do want to draw little boxes by yourself.
I mean, this is an important part of the step because this is why it doesn't work right away. You need to do some training for it. 10 documents to do a training model. So this is intended part of the process.
Cool. And so I don't know what this guy is. Oh, exact match mode.
Oh, that's your case sensitivity.
Yeah. So if I go ahead and try to submit, it says, hey, there's, something's been flagged. Right now, because it didn't identify this correctly, I'll just say it's should we put it as non-applicable or missing?
Missing in this document.
Missing in this document.
I would say, because you couldn't find what you were looking for.
Correct. So we can go ahead and click submit. It'll save all of our changes. You can see that Michelle Obama is now represented as done. And if we close the Doc Intel window and we reload the form, we'll see some substantial changes. So not only has the overall status of our task been shifted to done, which is good because it got all the fields that we could possibly get. However, it could get all of our data. So if we kind of zoom in here, we'll see the passport number is listed, the expiration date, the last name, and the first name. The only thing missing is that nationality, which is pretty damn cool. Going back to our past definition, though, we've now trained it on just one passport. But what happens now if we do another one? So let's do a separate one and see how much better it's already gotten just based off of one entry type. So we're going to go ahead and click new. What's the other guy's name? What's his name? Frank Moss. All right. Well, I was playing around with Frank earlier. Let's do Christine Giones. Christine.
She looks like she was arrested.
It's not the best. It's not the most flattering picture. It's funny. I had a similar instance happen. I almost used one of my passports, but it shows some, some information that's not, I didn't want out there. But
No.
they told me when I was getting my passport photo taken, I smiled and they went, "Don't smile." And so I think I reflexively frowned instead of just went passive, and I look like a James Bond villain in like one of my pictures. It's
So
really
in 2012 they said don't smile, but in 2021 they said it's okay.
I guess so. So Christine is now being processed as well. So hers will flip over here in just a second.
If you really want to make it look authentic, you stay awake for about 48 hours, because anytime you're traveling internationally, you're going to look like, the dog dragged you out of the dumpster anyway. So
Yeah.
that way the people at customs go, yeah, that's you, all right.
Oh my gosh. I had the last time I used my passport, just while this is processing, I had a scuba diving trip that got canceled. So I was only in South America for about 12 hours. If you ever want all the attention on you at an airport, go to a foreign country and go home in 12
And then
hours.
just leave.
Because you will get searched so many. I got searched 4 times. One time they pulled me out of line to get onto my airplane to search me again, because they're like, "There's no way you're not smuggling something." I was like, "I promise. My scuba trip just got canceled. I promise." All right. So we can now see that the field updated. It shows that this has been processed. So if we show this in Doc Intel, we will see lovely Christine's photograph. And we've already seen some substantial changes on just after one document. So now if we go to passport number, at a 60% chance that this is accurate, it accurately predicts her passport number, which is so cool after just one document, right? I think that, with machine learning algorithms and stuff, it was like, so many documents to train, but just after one, it's already showing progress.
Interesting that it missed the 5 on that bottom number.
On which bottom number?
Go down to the second choice on there, highlight it. Just
On the
cursor
second?
over it. Nope. Right there.
What
That's
5?
bizarre.
Oh, it did miss,
It
but
got the
this time it's
U.
actually reading it though.
Yeah, it missed the 5, but it got the U, so it's like the same region offset.
I mean, it's 40%, so at least it knows it's not confident about it.
Right.
Yeah, it's like maybe.
Close.
America. It's your name, America.
Okay,
Cool.
now can we get it didn't find her first name. That's disappointing.
And Miss Christine. So if I type in Christine, it finds it, but it has a 0% chance. So this is obviously due to the fact that this is a different shaped, document. This is, the crop is different. The zoom is different. It's the same document, but it comes in a myriad of, formats when people scan them in. So we can just go ahead and select Christine.
Didn't you have one that was kind of askew? Like sometimes you don't get these scanned exactly straight on.
I do. I
These
have
are
one that's
pretty
also,
orthogonal in my opinion.
yeah. I should try one sideways and see if it can do it, but I'm not. Maybe later on after it gets at least 2 under its belt. So you can see Gianna's too is only a 13%. I'm surprised the passport number was so strong, given the other ones are like 13. But let's see if this one actually gets nationality. So if we type in United States of America, okay,
Better.
cool, that's good, fantastic. And the expiration date, boom, it got the expiration date too. So out of the 5 fields that we created after one, it predicted accurately 2 of the fields. It's not bad. It's
We're
pretty
getting
damn good. So this time we can go ahead and submit. And for Christine, if we go back in and refresh this guy,
Professor training an intern.
Oh, we can see it's got all of our information.
We love our interns.
So now that we've showcased that we can load our documents in both PDF and picture format, all of which are legible, and ServiceNow with a little bit of coaching can start predicting that content. I think the next step is obviously considering the imperfect state of this content, right? If I were loading this passport into a table in ServiceNow, right? Having these fields in this format is not optimal. Optimally, I'd like to find the user named Christine Gionis based off of this first and last name. We have a country table in ServiceNow, so I wouldn't want it to just be a string of the United States of America. I'd like it to be a reference possibly to the country table. And then of course the holy grail of them all, which is transforming a date into something that's actually a date object.
Disclaimer, this is live coding happy hour, so don't expect miracles here.
Don't expect miracles. So now we can start setting things up a bit differently, but I need to create something else. So similar to transforming data, we need to create a staging area for these variables to be linked to. I think we can just link them to a new task in the task table. So let's try that first. So that way we don't have to necessarily.
Did I understand that you could do like, I think this is where key groups come in, where you can do lists of things. Like if I had a purchase order, for example, the line items could all be read in as separate records, right?
Yes. So if you want to create that was something that was experimenting with the what was it? The flight information. If you obviously you're probably don't have just one flight, you're probably coming home too. So like it'll show, you know, departing, arriving, time, seat, name, whatever. And then again, departing, arriving, date, seat, name, whatever. Creating, if we go back to our task definition, that is where we can group these fields together for the possibility of an iteration. So that would be very helpful for invoices as well. You don't want to just create a static number of items. People can buy as much or little as they please. So creating the key group is how you would do that. So if you want to just click new, I have not done this yet successfully, so forgive me if I stumble on this portion. But this is, we call this the test key group. I can go ahead and click save, and then I believe you can just add fields, or excuse me, keys to that group. Maybe not.
To specify a target table. All right, to be explored.
To be explored. That is the purpose of that.
You're going to run into situations where we have, you know, quantity, price, description, amount, quantity, price, description, amount, over and over again, and you want to grab all of them.
Maybe you add it on the key to the key group. Ah, yes. So you just, it's a one-to-many.
Okay.
Or not one-to-many.
So you say this key is part of a larger group.
Correct.
Kind of like variables and variable groups, if you want to think of catalog items that way.
Yeah, pretty cool. All righty, going back into the fray. So if I go back in here, so the next thing that we want to do is link this to, I'm trying to think of the best way to do this, whether the best way is to create a, like, what is it? Like a passport table for this to exist in. I think that's probably the best way to do it. So let's just go ahead and create the ideal passport, right? The ideal of what this could be. So I'm going to go ahead and go into App Engine Studio, because that's where my app lives, and just create a passport table based off the keys that we already made with their ideal formats of
real dates, real sysuser kind of thing.
Yeah. So
I'm assuming you don't have a Michelle Obama in the sysuser table, or do you?
I don't think so, but maybe is she a test user in our demo data? If she is, that's kind of cool. I don't think she is. So we're just going to call this the begin scratch passport auto number. Sure. Don't care at the moment. I'm trying to remember. The flow part is the part I'm the weakest on, because I didn't get the chance to practice all that much before, but we'll do our best. That is the point of Low Coding Happy Hour. Go ahead and edit the table.
Phil has a good question. I think we can kind of muse as we wait and figure this out. So the training part of the machine learning algorithm. So I know when it gets retrained or when it gets trained, you'll see it getting retrained under solution_ML .list, that table. there in machine learning, there's this weird conversation of like, as you build a training model and it gives us confidence values back, and we're simply picking the best confidence values when we go through it. Who's training who kind of situation. But I think how this is working, because they say like the model isn't official or it isn't actually activated until 10. Is it activated or is it just confident once you do 10 tasks through the machine learning? I can't remember what they said, but knowing that it's constantly retraining, I think it's constantly watching for what we're doing. So we're everything that we do over time, even if we don't go into the doc and tell interface to give it confidence value or pick values, it retrains itself over time, especially even when you do upgrades, it automatically triggers it. So I think it's constantly getting better. So it's actually learning from us, not necessarily it trying to force us to abide our process to them. I don't know. It's an interesting conversation for anything that's machine learning, right? Yeah, I think that's what's happening in the background, at least from what the demos I've been seeing, and there's what they're saying.
Very cool. Wait, why is everyone saying no in the chat?
Oh, we're joking.
Joking about differentiating zeros from O's.
Oh, that scared the crap out of me. It's like, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do? Why is everyone saying no? Why is everyone saying no? What did I do?
I think because the when we were showing the Doc and Tell learning page earlier, it was it interpreted an O as a 0, and so now everyone's saying 0 for O's instead, and we're all making fun of what no could look like. So there's no and no and no and
yo.
no with a yeah. So there's lots of silly ways that we could potentially mess with the algorithm while we're doing this training.
I don't think we'll find any emojis on a passport.
What? Why not?
You say that.
Yeah, Gabby's will have one.
Okay, so now let me look at my notes here for a second, just to double check. So I think that we can link it. Okay, so next we create another. What's our next passport? Should we try the Canadian one? Probably not. We should probably stick with. Oh, here's a good one with like a really weird setup though. Let's do. Oh, I don't. Jacqueline. There we go. Okay, and we're going to attach, and then where is lovely Jacqueline? There she is. She's the one that got scammed by some fake prints online, it seems. And then go ahead and process task. I believe it's at the task level that we start determining the where this gets linked up, I think. Okay. No, it is not at the task level. Well, is it? I'm trying to remember. It's the target table or if it's the source table for the flow that I wanted to play around with. I'm trying to think. Well, worst case scenario, let's just look at Jacqueline and see how that went.
She's not processed yet.
No, but she will be. I'm curious to see because it's a pretty crappy image as far as that goes. It's not the most detailed, and it's got that weird format. So if anything is gonna throw it for a loop, it's gonna be this one. All right, so passport number. Damn, still got it right though. It's a less accurate percentage, but it got it. First name, B. Nope, not the best.
Senior.
Jacqueline, got that. And then it got the accent on the E though. That's something I wasn't expecting. Got the tilde on, not the tilde. Is that a tilde? Or is that?
That's a Grave accent.
And the United States one, this one is continuously getting a little bit messed up. But this is also the lowest res image that we have. So we'll mark that one as missing in the document. And then date of expiration is accurate.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of her birthday. Yeah.
So not the worst considering the image. And then go ahead and click submit. So Beep, beep, beep. I'm getting used to reading the chat, my notes, and then have the demo on the other screen. It's pretty admirable how well y'all do this so seamlessly. Bueller.
Phil
Can you
says
hear
he
me?
knows her.
No.
He says, where'd you get that image? I know her.
Wait, really?
No, he's kidding.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh my gosh, what a small world.
Yeah,
Phil,
Frank looked familiar
Phil
too.
lovingly trolls us as much as he can.
That's good. It's good to keep us on our toes, especially when I'm slightly nervous. That means I'm all the more gullible when
Phil
I'm
has
weird.
database.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and start our flow. So basically, I would like to create a flow that retrieves the fields from our task. I'm just trying to remember how I orient that to the passport itself, but starting off from flow will at least give us a good start.
What? You're not doing flow from within AES?
I'm not, because that's an extra step. It's right there. It's so close. But we are going to create a new, and we're just going to call this the doc intel extraction, passport extraction. Yeah. We're going to go ahead and click submit. So this is going to be triggered off of our task. So the task, remember, is the iteration of our use case. The task definition is the use case itself, and every task or every document is that iteration. So that would be like if there was a new incident or a new problem. That is the equivalent in this case. However, go away. However, we don't want this to kick off the second we create our task because we have not processed the keys. It has not processed the document, and we have not successfully approved that those keys have been retrieved appropriately. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this not when it's created, but when this is updated. The task the doc intel task table is DI underscore task, I believe. DI underscore task. Fantastic. And we're going to add a condition. So the condition of this will be when the status of our task is done. So if we wanted to compare this to what these look like for our task, let me just pull one up as a visual example, if it doesn't take too long to do so. So if we go back into Michelle, and this is the field we're operating off of. So the second that we approved and went through every one of our fields, this automatically shifted to done. So that's what we are looking for when this is done. Go ahead and click save. There we go. So once this is done, what do we have to do first? Well, the first thing that we have to do is get our keys, right? We have to somehow get our keys and store them appropriately. One thing that we can do is we can look up records, because all of these keys are actually stored in their own table as implied by this related list as well. In fact, we can see them all. So if we go back to our document intelligence application menu, we can see we've got extracted values. If we open that up, everything that we've ever extracted from doc intel exists. So ergo, this could easily be a lookup option. So if we add an action, we can go for look up records. Look up records.
You almost had it.
No.
I think it in some cases it's one word, in other cases it's two. So try it as one.
Just look up records. There we go. Okay. Look up records. We're going to look up the extracted value table. So I think it's just called extracted value. So DI underscore extracted value is our table in question. But of course, we have to filter this down for our specific task. So we are going to filter this to where the task. I will say, when we have to zoom in for these shows, it does get a little wonky on the flow designer. It's not usually like this, but it's because it's the result of zooming into like 200%. The task, there we go, is the same as our source record, correct?
Right there at the top.
Is this the but it's not.
What? That's the task record.
Hang on, let me double check something. I might have missed a step because I think we have to actually store this in a source table, and that's what I missed in doing. So if we open up,
so if we open up one of those, what we don't have any reference. We do have a reference back to the task.
We do. Okay, so maybe I'm making this overly complicated. So if we do this, task is task. Okay, let's try that. Let's go ahead and click save.
Run it.
Can we test it out? Sure. Let's test it for Christine.
Run it.
Oh my gosh, it's already 4:15. Time flies when you're extracting fun amounts of data.
And
well,
those are the records. Well, no, those are the records. They don't have a display
perfect.
value on them. They don't have a display value on them.
That's fantastic. That's the ones we're looking for. All the ones linked to Christine. Okay.
And what do you want out of those? Is there a value or something in there?
Well, yes. So all of them, usually in the context of these flows, what we recommend is looking up the extracted values and then creating flow variables for them or something like that. Or do something within the bounds of the loop itself. But within each data extracted value, there is the actual data in the data field.
Great name for a field.
Yeah, that's what's hard too, is that a lot of this stuff is named task, and like everything is named task in ServiceNow. So it's easy to get confused what task you're talking about.
But if you were making a variable, you could make the variable name the key and the value the data.
Correct.
So the key would be past partner. I got to say, I'm not a fan of that form layout.
What do you mean? It's so easy to follow and so descriptive with lots of helper text on every field.
Two single column displays followed by some random.
Yeah. So within so if you didn't want to use, you could always use flow variables. Like that's probably the easiest way to do this. You could also use like a decision table. So like if the key is this, put the data over here. If the key is that, put the data over here. If the key is this, first transform it and then do it. But essentially that would be the setup for any flow concerning data or document intelligence. As a grand finale, should we try the Canadian passport?
Do it.
Let's try it.
Or take Frank's and rotate it 90 degrees.
Yeah, I like Earl's comment of like task top test. That's literally what half this stuff is. The only thing that was more confusing was when the new mobile app first came out and like everything was like an applet, or it was also like very recursive on naming. It was very difficult. But let's go ahead and do one more task and see what happens when we throw old Canada in the mix for our passport, and see if we would need a new definition or if we could get by with what we have. Because it has the same information, it's just kind of in different places. How different can it handle it? We will find out.
Loading.
Yeah, my internet's on a little bit on the struggle bus recently. Between like the stream and the all the windows, I think it's a little bit strapped for time. There we go. I'm gonna do a new task. And who is our Canadian? Like all the text used by scammer. This is all from like scam examples. It's so funny. It's not funny to get scammed. It's funny that like that's where all of these passwords have come from. It's the C one. So we're gonna go ahead and call this just Canada Boy. That's who he is. That's his legacy. And we're gonna go ahead and pick his passport. Cool. And process task.
Nom, 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 nom. You have to have the chewing sound going. Nom, 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 nom.
It'll be interesting too if throwing in the other format will mess up the success rate of the American passports. Like, would that be a hindrance, or would it train it to be better? I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure. I can see this being really useful for like receipts and stuff like that. If you wanted to create like your own, we could create a Concur competitor so that we won't have to do all the stuff we have to do behind the scenes for all of our Concur expenses. Just waiting for it to process. There we go. Go ahead and show it in Doc Intel and see what it finds. So passport number, yeah, it definitely does not know where to look for passport number. But if we give it a hint, 160379. Oh.
No, not helpful.
I will say the sideways text saying this is a used by scammer might be throwing everything off. I didn't really
Maybe. I mean, we had a whole bunch of stuff in the background on the US ones too, and it seemed to do pretty well.
That's true. It does catch scam chat, which is
a lot. Which is interesting because we were just asking about what if something is askew. And
yeah,
it caught that.
It caught something that was askew. It's pretty good. Well, it does not have passport number, so I'm missing in the document. But what about his name? His name is Mike.
His name is Scam Chat.
His name is Mike, and
no.
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 No. No.
I mean, grab the sideways mic at least.
It is getting Mike. Like it is finding the mics that are there, but it is deferring to the ones that are sideways. Not the closest. So we'll say not applicable or missing. And then Perry. Will it get Perry? It get Perry. Okay, that's the first one. Nationality. It gets like the whole block. So I wonder if the resolution has to deal with it, because obviously PDFs are going to be a lot more higher res than just like using a kind of a crappy image. But it just because it has a it has a likelihood of blocking in too much as a singular entity, it seems. Because obviously we don't want all of that for Canadian. Well, what about the date? So the date of expiration. So 21. Oh, no luck with expiration date.
Yeah, this is an interesting training training batch to go through. Preferably you would use real documents that have some form of consistency. So
True.
Your training model can, build off itself instead of constantly guessing wrong.
It's the good old challenge every data import faces of inconsistent data. What do you do with it?
Yeah. Well, as far as a grand finale goes, I don't know how Mike Perry treated us, but it looks like we're coming up a little bit on our end of the hour, correct, guys?
Rotate Frank. Rotate Frank.
Wait, what do you mean?
Take Frank's picture passport.
Oh.
Open it with
like
preview.
Put upside down?
Open it with preview. Just go click, click, and do a Command R.
Like
there you
this?
go. Yeah, upside down will be fine too.
Let's try. I'm down to try.
Oh, that's you're. I was going for 60. You went for 100.
Well, let's try. Let's see if it can do it. Now I'm curious. So we're gonna go ahead and do not Canada Boy. It just says Canada Boy. It's very funny. Little slow for my liking at the moment. All right.
That happens with all demos. You should know that. You've been doing demos since you started.
Well, usually those are a lot more thought out ahead of time. The point of this is to do stuff on the fly. In the sales, you got to be refined.
Process. That's what happened. For the Canada one, we didn't say it right. It's process task.
Ah.
Actually, I think this passport will be accurate for all of our Australian developers then.
Stop.
Oh,
So I have to bring his up though, because I'm not going to be able to read it. I won't know what I'm looking for. Hang on. Let me make this full screen and then put this side by side. There we go. And I'm going to rotate him back so that I can know what I'm looking for. Okay. Is it processed yet or no?
The checkbox hasn't gone checked yet.
It might be freaking out. I was like, what the heck is all this?
It had to send it to an Australian server.
Yeah.
Sorry. Earl, you're a bad influence.
Reload. Come on. Gotta see what happens with Frank.
Oh,
There we go.
I gotta jump at the bottom of the hour. This is my.
Whoa! Wait! It loaded it.
It auto rotated it.
It auto rotated.
Wow. Okay, we learned something today.
Okay, that is a grand finale then. If it could actually auto rotate the document based off of the AI like reading the text, it's like, oh, this is upside down. That's really cool. I did not know it did that. That's neat. Well, it got his passport number right. First name, I guess Moss. Well, they're all equal, so 6%. Frank, surname, Moss, nationality. Boom.
Hey, you got it right this time.
It's getting it right. And then expiration date, it got it right. So the only ones that mixed up were first and last name. But even with it upside down, it got
better than Canada. Of course,
better than Canada.
we're gonna give that one a break.
That's true. Well, that's a way better grand finale than the other one.
Easier than training an intern.
Yeah. Too cool.
Doc Intelligence doesn't get me coffee though.
True.
We got a couple minutes left. Let's do our ratings. Of the beverages.
I mean, it's hard to mess up sugar-free ginger ale. I'll give it a 4. So 4.5 since we had a pretty successful demo.
All right. Earl?
I have a Golden State cider. I think the last time I gave it was a 4. And that's accurate. It's really solid. I think for us, 4s are actually really solid drinks on the show. So solid.
Oh yeah.
And I'll give my high quality H2O a 5.
Yeah.
Can we get Drew on the air to add how you rate your Coke today?
Yeah.
He can put it in the chat. Quick announcements. If you didn't notice, right above Lauren's left shoulder is a Tokyo logo. So we are doing our Tokyo content continues in our season of Tokyo, devlink.sn/Tokyo. If you want to find all of the content that's available there, you can go there by calendar, by category. And as of this morning, Earl said, it's up to date. So we're keeping up to date. We may be a little day or so behind sometimes. Any call for content? Call for content is opening on October 18th, which is just a few short days away from us now. If you've got an idea, or even if you don't have an idea, we have office hours in there. You can show up, be part of that conversation. If you have an idea, we will help you refine it. There are people showing up and go, I've got this experience and I did this, and we'll help you drill into what might be interesting to an audience. So you can submit a title and abstract in the call for content when that opens up. So take advantage of those office hours. We are there for you. And that will be running through November 15th. So you have about 4 weeks to get all your ducks in a row, get your ideas, pad it out, and then we'll begin the selection process and let people know. That's for a speaking opportunity at CreatorCon 23 in May of 2023 in Las Vegas. So anything I missed?
We're in the middle of Hacktoberfest still. Go check it out. devlink.sn/Hacktoberfest. If you don't know what that is, it'll explain everything there. Meetups are happening next month and throughout. They're happening all the time, so just check it out. devlink.sn/meetups. Have you been to one of your developer meetups? If you haven't, you probably should check it out.
Good stuff. All right. That's going to take care of us for today. I've got to run to another meeting real quick. So thank you, everybody, for showing up. It's been a wonderful time. We will talk to you again real soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Outro.